Hello, good morning, good evening, whatever's in between. This is Kinunners and I'm back on a tier list with Sacred Stones because I finished it recently. So we're gonna go along with these characters. Now I have obviously the support system for Sacred Stones is a little bit funny. And you can only get so many for each person. So I've gone through and not all of them, but I've looked through I think a decent enough amount of supports to the point where I can get the general gist on some of the characters that I just didn't really have out and didn't really have supports done with for other people. So yeah, I guess we'll start. I should probably start with the Lords first, I imagine. And go with Erica and Ephraim. Erica, I would say is an A. I don't mind Erica. She's fine. She's a perfectly respectable protagonist. A little bit silly here and there, especially with the whole like Ephraim being in the cell plot that he had, where Erica was like, "Well, we must go save him," and Seth was like, "This is a trap." But anyway, but yeah, Erica, she's fine. She works well as a protagonist. Personally, I much prefer Ephraim. I don't even know how to explain it. He rushes into combat and doesn't really think about a whole lot else outside of combat. We know full well he's horrendous at studying literally everything. Come on now, Ephraim. You can do a little bit better, especially since you're meant to be king. But I find that to be more interesting than Erica's side of things, where she just half of her personality is just talking about Ephraim the entire time. Also, with Ephraim's name, I've heard this guy's name pronounced in like 6 different ways, so I'm just gonna go with Ephraim and call it a day. But anyway, I place Ephraim in S above Erica. I prefer him as the Lord. I preferred what I did of his route. Of course, there are some slight changes in Erica's that I didn't see because I didn't continue on with her route. But yeah, I prefer Ephraim. He's better to me. So yeah. Then we'll go along in this line, I suppose. We've got Amelia. Now I benched Amelia immediately after I got her. But I did go back and I briefly looked through her sports with Juicel and with Franz. And she's just a soldier that yeah, that's it. She's just a soldier. The supports with both Franz and Juicel are actually quite nice. Juicel, like, tells her that her mother is alive and well. And her and Franz are just keeping count of each other's progress on the battlefield, so simple, but I mean, she is a recruit character, so she's alright. What happened to her in C, I think? Arthur? How do you say his name? However you say that, Mr. Mage. I mean, I actually, out of the mages in this game, he's probably my most preferred mage. I used him more than I used the rest of them. And personality-wise, I prefer him. He's like an average guy almost. He just uses magic and knows a bit about monsters. But otherwise, he's just your guy. He just hangs out with everyone. And he just does his own thing for the most part. Now, Mr. Bluehead, I don't know how to say his name properly either. I probably said it wrong the entire playthrough because I said it as calm. Is it kind of said like how Callum is supposed to be said? Is that how his name is? I don't know. Thief Man, who showed up with Namie that one time, stole Erica's bracelet, and is actually a pretty decent person if he's not stealing things. I didn't mind him. He was there for a while as my thief before Rennick showed up. So, he's good. I think I like his sports with Namie. I think, yeah, I'd say B as well. Now, Cormag is one that I did not get. I did not recruit him. But I did go back and watch some of his supports, and honestly, he seems like a great guy. He's just a nice guy. So yeah, probably should have recruited him, but I didn't. So I kind of missed out on that part, but it's okay. Now we have Dozla, which is La Rochelle's retainer person, bodyguard, that guy. I'm not into like the whole sort of oddball personalities, generally speaking, so I wouldn't place him particularly high. That being said, I did see his support with Mer, where he was literally just trying to keep her happy, essentially. I'd say he's pretty good, but I think he still goes in C. In here. Juthel? He trained Ephraim. He swapped sides, became the other resident, like, actual cavalry person outside of Orson. So, and he's just doesn't really know what to do with himself because he's loyal to Grotto. But I don't know. We figured it out with Ephraim. I would say maybe B. Maybe I'll move him up after, depending on who I have there. Ewan, I never did much with. I'm not much of a fan of child units that much, and the childish personalities and things like that. So he kind of sits down there. I don't know. Now we move on to Ford. I like Ford. He's a goose. He's trying to calm down Kyle over there. He likes his painting. He likes his painting because it kept friends happy. It kept friends from crying. But he's a bit of a goose. He does his painting on the battlefields because why not, I guess. You can't hate him though. He's just a guy. Speaking of friends, there's friends. I feel like he sits in this tier with Amelia. The good knights over here. Just the nice knights that are trying to do their own thing. And that's that. Then we have Garcia. I didn't use Garcia. I used Ross instead. His dad. That's all I got, really. He's a dad. He's doing his thing. He's trying to keep Ross safe, even though Ross was used to a lot more of my playthrough than what he was. He was a retired soldier when they found him. Otherwise though, yeah, I didn't really have much on him. So I'm gonna sit him in C. And we have Garrick. I mean, he showed up with Innis. That in itself is a good thing. Otherwise though, he's a mercenary who's also kind of a little bit of a goose. But he just wants to keep people safe. He's not really in mercenary life, or actually anything mercenary related. He's simply just there to keep people alive. And I think that's kind of respectable, so we'll put him in B. He's the leader of the mercenary band that showed up to help with everything, so yeah. Gilliam, same sort of thing as Garcia. I didn't use him, but I did go back and look at some of his supports, and again, he seems like the good knight squad down here, where it's like decent knights, good wholesome people, just doing their thing. So I'll leave him there. Innis is amazing. It's one of my favorites. Guy has probably the most like one-sided rivalry I've ever seen with Ephraim, but he's great. He's like half a tsundere, half a sort of not a tsundere. He's a bit faster to open about his feelings than most other tsunderes, I noticed. But he's a great guy. And he's like one of the most level-headed of the group too. Like, he was the one who was like, look, we have to fight Leon. We have to fight Leon. so be it. That's kind of just what it is. And he was keeping everyone on par. So, great man. Joshua, gambling man, and the other prince. I've managed to somehow get all three of the princes up there. Joshua's great too. He's sort of half abandoned his throne simply to go get life experience outside of it, which honestly is respectable. Probably not respectable the way he went about it. Gambling and mercenary life and leaving his mother in complete distress over trying to rule their kingdom. But like what he was actually going for wasn't particularly bad. And his support within this is just funny. Just two people gambling and innocent learning to gamble. Joshua's good though. He added like a good bit of decent humor when it needed to be there, and he didn't overstep that, so he did good there. Noel showed up late. Not as late as Cyrene, but he showed up late. But he's a mage. He's a dark mage specifically. He helped Leon acquire the Darkstone. He was there to witness half of it. Showed up to help Ephraim take him out because, I mean, what else do you do when your prince goes on a rampage with a Darkstone? And yeah, he's just a guy. He's just a quiet little guy. I never really used him much. Guile's fine. He's the strict knight who has some feelings down there but refuses to show them half the time and is attempting to keep everyone, most namely Ford, in line. And Ephraim. He's constantly trying to keep Ephraim in line too. So he's become everyone's dad. Trying to keep everyone together, and like I said before with Dozla, I'm not one for the oddball personalities. And when La Rochelle first showed up, I was completely on Rennick's side of things. Didn't really like her. She was just kind of there for me. She got so much better throughout the story. She got like a slight bit of development through the actual story itself. Obviously they ended up having to go to her region to get her Sacred Stone as the last one. And she was the other one who was like surprisingly level-headed, despite having like a little, I don't know, energetic quirk there, I suppose you call it. Her righteousness and her justice. She managed to keep things on track. I actually wanted to get her ending with Ephraim, but I ended up having Ephraim had too many supports already done and I wasn't able to get his A support with her, which was unfortunate, but they have a great support about Ephraim talking about his scars and La Rochelle sitting there absolutely not knowing what to do with herself because she is hopelessly in love with this man. And that's just it. So yeah, I wanted the ending but I wasn't able to get it. Maybe if I ever did a future run outside of the channel or something, I don't know. But yeah, I ended up really liking La Rochelle at the end. She sort of pulled people together, and in the end where Erica and Ephraim were doubting themselves in particular, given it was Leon. She was kind of just there, like, leading everyone sort of within us. She sort of just half took over and was like, this is what we're doing now, come on. We're going places. And we're getting it done. So, ended up being one of the best. I didn't use Luke in my playthrough because I don't like her. Now that might be an unpopular opinion. To be honest, I don't really care. I think I said it previously in my Valentia video when I was talking about Delthea, where I don't really like the Prodigy type characters, especially the ones who are very blatantly full of themselves in that regard. And Lute is one of those. Like I was saying, the only sort of exception I tend to really have is like Scythia in that regard. I don't really care much for Lute. I don't. It's the personality. I'm sure she probably carries a lot of people's teams, but I couldn't. after I met her and he was like, I'm superior and a genius, I was like, that's it. You're on a bench. Marisa. Well, canonically, she's supposed to be a very high-end mercenary. She's not really gameplay-wise, but it's fine. Otherwise, she's part of Garrick's group, and she just kind of shows up. Ewan ends up recruiting her to the side in their frame side of things because she gets confused and mixed up with things. She doesn't really speak about a whole lot. She doesn't really initiate conversations or anything, which is fine. So I feel like she's like a B molder. I mean, I never really saw much to do with him, but he was kind of just like a wholesome guy. He was just trying to help everyone out with their problems, trying to give people advice, trying to make sure everyone's happy. Mer's a little dragon. I like Mer a lot. She's Mer. She's relevant. She's one of the dragons. She's just a really sweet little thing. Follows Ephraim around everywhere. And probably one of the most, like, she had like the whole deal with Morva, or basically her adoptive dad, where she didn't really tell anyone about it, and then Ephraim found out afterwards and was like, why? Why didn't you tell anyone? Which was a little bit strange, but I guess for like what, 1,200 years old or whatever she is, I guess for a dragon that old, you'd probably get used to it by that point. So, but otherwise though, she's good. She shows up. I liked it when she showed up. She added something, and that was nice. Natasha's a cleric, or a nun, and that's about it. But she's not bad. I had her paired with Josh. It made her a bit more interesting. Naomi, I feel like is a B. I feel like half the time she's just crying, but she's also, support-wise, is a really good archer. And kept a little blue-haired thief in line, so he's alright. Orson is interesting. He betrayed the group simply because he wanted to attempt to resurrect his wife. So, he's just tragic. Like, he's the embodiment of tragedy. And I don't know what else to really say about him other than that one chapter was kind of creepy. And I think I'll leave it at that. Rennick. How could you dislike Rennick? Now, I like La Rochelle, but how could you dislike Rennick? He's like mostly a normal guy as well. Mostly. Sometimes he's a bit of a goose. Sometimes he's a bit sarcastic and mean. But he's ready. And with how much La Rochelle drags him all over the place, I get why he says some of the things he does. So, next we go Ross. I used him more than his dad. Actual support, personality-wise, I mean, he's just that kid who's trying to fight. He's trying to prove himself. And that's fine. But there isn't... I mean, it makes sense. He's, you know, a small, minor character that comes from a village in, like, the very beginning. I don't know. There isn't too much to him, but that's fine. Sade? Is that how you say his name? Something like that. He's the guy that comes from the mountain range that I can never pronounce, and also the teacher of Ewan, and the one who looks after me. He's a mage. I feel like this is like a section of mages over here. Except for Luke. Yeah, he's a mage. There isn't a whole lot to him other than looking after Mer and the mountain range people and teaching Ewan. And that's really all there sort of is to it. Moving on to Seth. Need I say more? Seth is great. Especially in the beginning of Erica's route, he seems to be the only one with actual brain cells. He's the one who picks up on Orson. He's the one who essentially sits there when Erica's waffling on about how she needs to save everyone, and he just goes, "There's like 2 of us, but anyway, we're gonna need a bigger army for this." And he's supposed to be wounded too. Like, Volta wounded him in the beginning of the game. And he's still just destroys everything. He's a great guy. He's just looking out for everyone. Cyrene, I don't have much to do with. She ended up in the story really late. She just seems like an average Pegasus Knight, to be honest. There isn't that much to do with her. Everyone just talks about how good a Pegasus Knight she is. And that's really all I got. I've got nothing else, really. Next we have Tana. She's alright. Maybe a B. I'm not sure what to do with Tana. She has some weird support. She's Innes' sister. Erica's best friend, one of them. There's kind of an odd support with Ephraim. I don't know, she's just kind of there half the time. Gets herself stuck in many situations where she has to be saved. Tethys is the resident dancer. I actually like her more than I like most of the Fire Emblem dancers. She's just, I don't know, she's just better. I feel like she just makes sense, you know? She looks after Ewan, because it's her brother. She's part of Gareth's mercenaries. She's just like, overall a decent human being. Just trying to live a good life for the most part. Which is completely respectable. So I feel like she sits up here somewhere. Maybe an A. I don't know, I'll see when I sort the rest of this. Last, and honestly probably least, Vanessa. There's nothing inherently wrong with Vanessa. I just don't really know anything about her apart from she's also a Pegasus Knight. So I'll put her in C as well for now. It's supposed to be a really good Pegasus Knight. There isn't a whole lot on her, at least not that I've seen. This is the general tier list. I'll see who I move around. Innes and Ephraim I think are interchangeable here. And then probably Seth above that. Seth, Joshua and her. That's fine, that works. I would say La Rochelle goes first. Erica. These 3 here, at least from what I've seen of Cormac, these 3 here are interchangeable. Rennick can sit there. I think I might bring Tethys up. And maybe not. And I think I might sit Kyle just behind forward. Just for good measure. I think that works. Yeah. B. I don't know what to do with this. I feel like Orson has to go up. He's relevant. Maybe like this. I think that looks alright there. Friends. Maybe Amelia. Maybe Gilliam. I don't know, this end part I'm not really sure what to do with, so I'll just leave it there. And Luke can stay at the bottom. I'm sorry. I don't like Luke. She annoys me. That's just it. There's nothing else I'm gonna say about her. But yeah. Anyway. I think that's it. think this will be my end tier list for the Sacred Stone. Yeah, I think this looks right. Kinunners first. Makes sense. Makes sense to me. Regardless, I know this one's a little bit strange because again, I didn't have a lot of the supports and I kind of just briefly watched through a lot of them and looked them up. So it was a little bit hard. Most of it's just running off what I saw of them in the main story and a little bit of the supports that I did get. So yeah, it might be a little bit odd, or I might have a slight bit of mischaracterization here and there. I apologize if I do. But anyway, hope everyone enjoyed this video. That's it for now. Cheers everybody.